Hey, I hope that you are doing so well wherever you are in the world. This is Kira Audrin here, and um, I'm going to be talking about something that may be taboo to a lot of people, but this is my truth, and I'm just here to share more of my human journey and the way that I have experienced God and God's power and how much God means to me. And it has to do with two of my near death experiences. So just listen. If this applies to you, I would love to learn from you if you've had a near death experience. My name is Kira Audrin, and I am a intergalactic seer. I've been a quantum field trainer of 16 years. I work with spiritual business owners and helping them in their brand extension strategies. I'm also an artist, and definitely here for the continuation of the cosmic shift, the great shift that we're all experiencing. And the more that I share my personal stories, I just first and foremost want to recognize the deep love that the cosmic mother, the cosmic father, the great one, the one that truly has no name, the one that has visited us over and over and over, the essence of life, the one that has no name, the one that has many names, right? And some of my experiences in this human journey has been vast. But specifically, I'm going to be talking about near-death experiences. So the first one, and again, some of this is very personal information that I feel ready to share, to bring forward, and I'm fine with that. So when I was, just like a lot of people, excuse me, I'm just getting a drink, a lot of people on the planet, we experience vast pain, a lot of emotional pain, a lot of spiritual pain, physical pain, abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. We can disassociate from life itself, especially if these experiences of separation are happening at a young age. And I'm not going to be going into detail in this video, but some of my life experiences and the way that my soul chose to experience life and some of the harshness of life had to do with choosing to be birthed to people who did their best to provide emotional understanding to me. I lived and survived multiple years of sexual traumas. And by the time I was 14, not only was I like very vastly confused, I was entering high school, was a phenomenal student, straight A student. At the age of 14, I had been scouted. I already had a full ride scholarship to college. I could go anywhere I wanted to go on an athletic. I played soccer on an athletic multiple scholarships. I on paper, I was fine, was heavily involved in the Christian church. I loved the church. I've read the Bible front to back 2 times and used to teach it. And I almost went to Bible college. I toured Lee University at the age of 17, and that was the route that I was going to go. However, knowing what I know now, I'm 35 years old. And so this is about 20 years ago. Okay, 20 years ago, I was so in such turmoil, regardless of my faith in God, regardless of my spiritual experiences, my emotional and spiritual, physical turmoil, and the way that I was experiencing life, and inherently what I knew to be true. I was more I think a lot of us who are sensitives, a lot of us who are earth angels, a lot of us who are here to cleanse a lot of these densities on our planet, we sometimes sign up for the crash course because of purification, because we know that we can do it and we said yes. And so we drop into the body and we're like, okay, sign me up for whatever I need to to evolve and contribute. And when I say contribution or the word contribute, it means to me in this moment to contribute to the evolution of this planet, the evolution of God consciousness in this planet, and the evolution of my own soul. And possibly that might be true for you. So I tried taking my own life, and um I attempted to take my own life, and my first near-death experience, I was hovering over my body, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, no, I'm kidding. I was in my closet as a teenager. I was hovering over my body, and I was looking at my body, and I was like looking around me, and it was only a year prior to where I had this vast, what we call it, awakening. This is I have another video here that I'll tag that tells you about the way that I really fully started the process of coming into my gifts. But my first near-death experience, I was hovering over my body, and I could start to see these portals open, and I just felt love. But in that moment, I had, and the same thing happened in my second one, I had to make a choice. And I remember calling out to God. I was like, God, I don't want to go. God, no, put me back in my body. It was the most amazing thing. The most amazing thing. And this is another reason why I believe in God so much, and of course Jesus Christ, and the way that if we listen and we truly, truly listen, that our temples, our bodies, our minds, our spirits are going to be restored over and over. We are always heard. So I had chosen life. And I sorry, I'm just getting emotional. Just because I'm in such deep respect for God. And I asked in the moment, I said, God, put me back in my body. And I'll never forget it. Like God just went, and I felt my spirit just like, yeah, like kind of jump back in my body. And it didn't take away the emotional pain. It didn't take away what I was living, as a teenager. It didn't take away anything other than it reinforced what I had known to be true as a psychic, as a healer, because I was starting to come into my gifts at a young age. It restored my true ultimate faith in God. And from that moment, my relationship with God got so tight, just so, so tight, like just really beautiful. And in that moment, coming back into my body and looking at what I had done, it started this reclamation at a young age of purification. And it took me about 3 years to get to this point that I started my yoga practice at the age of 19. And just really allowing myself to listen and drop in and more and start to I had to keep my real true spiritual practices hush hush in the home at the time, because they were considered demonic. It's like meditation was demonic, or Buddhism was demonic. These types of things that a lot of people experience, right? On our planet still. My second near-death experience was, I'd like to say it was actually, now that I think about it, it was almost 10 years later. I was a mother. And just so you guys all know, I'm a mother to 3 beautiful children, single mom, and I couldn't be happier with the way that God has blessed me, and the path of motherhood. But I've been self-employed at this point for 4.5 years. My oldest daughter, she was barely 1.5, if that. Yeah, she was about 1.5, right? Yeah. And I was a doula at the time, a doula in training, and I was just sometimes when we run and run and run and run, there's no amount of mindset work or healing work or anything you can slap on top if you're not really going inward. And I didn't realize that I wasn't going inward. I was like, okay, I have a yoga practice, I'm studying all this, and I have my massage practice, and I'm teaching Reiki, and I'm doing all these things I've always done. But I didn't really understand that I wasn't loving myself still. I was still putting these band-aids on top of these old stories, these old wounds. And it was crazy. In a 3-day period, my great grandmother died. I was in the hospital with a mother at the time, and she had to I had to be there, because when I commit to something, I commit. And her baby took 2 days to deliver, and I was tired, and my body, like the adrenal fatigue was over the top. My hormones were out of balance. I was still not sleeping from nursing my child, and just working like 6-7 days a week sometimes, not slowing down. The responsibilities on my shoulders and the story of not being supported was just like, I was just like, I just want out of this. I just want out. And I didn't know still how to love myself. And during this 3-day period, my body started shutting down. Literally, my body was dying. I was going to and from the doctor, the emergency room, almost every other day for about 2.5 weeks. I was misdiagnosed with ulcers, and as a seer, I can see inside the body. And one of the ways that I train other psychics and healers is to see the quantum field, to see inside the body, to manipulate frequencies for healing, et cetera, et cetera. And the pain was so vast. My gallbladder, my pancreas, and my liver were dying. So it was really, really scary. I was like, oh my God, I just had a baby. Like, I can't leave. Like, my whole life is ahead of me. Like, I have a daughter. And I was so scared to have surgery. So they ended up, so my next experience on the other side, this one was actually even more profound from the first one that I shared with you. So I go under an emergency surgery, and the biggest thing was we needed to save the pancreas, because if I mean, you can't live without a pancreas. So my pancreas was almost dead. My liver was dying. Yeah, my body was shutting down. So I went under emergency surgery. It took me a long time to recover. I still actually have healing from the complications. And in the surgery, I left, and I went through cosmic travel. I revisited my life. I saw the decisions that I could make. I saw the decisions. It was interesting. What I remember was I went through these like cosmic libraries, like tunnels, like hallways almost, and then I could revisit like my decisions. But I was connected with like God, and then I went above that, and I was literally like, I didn't want to leave. It was so beautiful. Like God, like I was just like in this like cozy nest of like warm amber, like just constantly, consistently being fed love. And I remember making the decision, like God asked me, do you want to go back? And I said yes. And so both times I had a conscious choice of choosing life. And these experiences, again, strengthened, and we're not done on the second one yet. These two experiences, but the second one was really profound, because I remember looking at the surgeons doing the surgery on my body. And I remember seeing myself, and I was standing to, I'm on the operating room, and then this is after I said yes. And I'm standing to the left side of my body. And I remember God, the essence of love, and this agreement I had with myself and God, and it was, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna learn to love myself. And that was in 2014, 10 years ago. And I remember hearing, "Are you ready to go into your body now?" And I said, "Yes." And it was like I entered through my feet. It was really cool. Like I could feel it was like blowing up a balloon. But I was like my body was the balloon. And I could feel myself. I was watching myself and my consciousness go up through my feet, fill myself up. And I remembered these directions that I had. I received all this information of like, okay, this is how you're gonna live, and this is how you're gonna eat, and you're still not done. You're going to go through some shit, Kira. You're not done yet. And all I wanted to do was escape, but I now had this agreement with God, and on the other side, and this love, and all I wanted, and all we ever want is love, nourishment, actual nourishment. And when I came out of it, I just wrote these, I just channeled and wrote these blueprints for my life. At the time, I had to, the next move was I had to have another initiation conversation with my parents, forgiveness. I forgive you. I love you. Can we move forward? At the time, I had to end a relationship. I had to shift the way that I was doing business. It was just boom, 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 boom. Like this is not in alignment with how you want to live, Kira, and what you know to be true. You cannot be, saying one thing and doing another. And it took this awakening, my body shutting down, and this emergency surgery, and having my gallbladder removed to save, the other organs. Thank you, body. I love you. To really reinforce that my relationship, this is, my story, these are my realities. My relationship with God is always intact, and you have a choice for life, and the other side is not scary. And I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but I am going to go in depth about when I lost my ability to walk after my third child, and some of the experiences I've had after my brother passed away. And the information that he received 2 weeks before he died. And I want to share this with all humility and grace and love to those of you who are struggling, on your path of ascension, or your emotional cleansing, or your healing journey, wherever you are. And if you feel like this video can share, or you can, somebody can take something from this, please share it. I want to remind you that God's grace is everywhere, and we have the choice to live. There are death and rebirth cycles all the way, but we don't have to choose the extremes. I was somebody who chose the extremes. And through these two near-death experiences, and both times having the conscious choice to choose life has been freeing. This, to me, reinforced free will. True free will. And it wouldn't have come. It's not, we're not individualized amoebas in this web of life. We are consciously connected to God. And God is responding back to you and me. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and listen to this brief part about my journey. I love you. And again, my name is Kira Audrin. Our life is sacred. This existence is sacred.